However, as I passed the library once more, I saw a scene that nearly stopped me in my tracks. Just nearly, though. I nearly fell to the floor due to the shock. Just nearly, though. This couldn't be reality. This must have been a dream. That's the only thing that could explain how quickly people were dying, how quickly the school was becoming a true hell. But I stood on my feet. I didn't even scream. I couldn't. I didn't want to risk alerting Dragon, who was crouched over a dead Bonnie. To the side, Horse also lay motionless, a bullet right through his head. A silenced pistol dangling in Dragon's head. It was disconcerting, to say the least. I didn't know what to do or say. I just stood motionless. However, it appears even without motion, Dragon noticed me. Instead of making some move, she continued to examine Bunny. And then she spoke. You know how the red dragons were formed? I didn't know how to respond to this sudden conversation change. No, of course you wouldn't. Some nice law student from a well-off family, you wouldn't know anything about it. See, the gang actually started out in juvenile centers. The prisons are shit, only the strong survive. And so to survive, a bunch of criminals from the same area of Hightower banded together. And when they got out of prison, they stayed together, survived together. Because that's what you gotta do. As far as I'm concerned, this man's more of a criminal than any of my friends. I mean, it's guys like him that have ruined my community, brought us where we are. But I mean it in a much more literal sense. I knew his face from somewhere, but I couldn't place it, until I was reminded. This guy's a killer, shot an innocent man. Oh. Bunny Killer. For a computer lab, that's the role. Bought that one. And he walks free. But that's how it goes, you know. The judge doesn't sentence the cop. And come next election time, the police endorse the judge once more. Someone from that fucking brutal cycle, some scum like that. It makes sense that he'd do what he did. Still, now I'm surprised at how brutal he's been. But Dragon, what do you mean? I mean, this guy's the other traitor. Really? I come down to catch this prick standing above Horse's body. Pistol in hand. I'm looking right pissed, but he suddenly stops me. Tells me to wait a minute, to look at this. He hands me Horse's tablet. Generously, I gave him the time of day. I thought that maybe Horse was the traitor, that was some sort of self-defense. Turns out no, Horse isn't a determined personality at all. And right as I recognize that, Bunny pulls the gun on me. But I'm faster, I knock it out of his hand. And then I give him a good old uppercut, send him flying to the ground face first. From there, I just beat the ever-loving shit out of him. Felt good, felt right. And who would care about it? After all, the chaos and darkness of this race will tear away all this shit. Us survivors will write the truth. Good measure, I grab that busted lamp and choke him out with the cord. And like that, we're saved. So, he was the other traitor? Of course. Could I see his tablet then? Ah, that. It accidentally got broken when I was beating the shit out of him. My bad. Accidentally? I froze. I was with Bunny when Sheep was killed. When Tiger was killed. He couldn't be the culprit behind all of this. But could Dragon? If we're looking for somebody who could break Sheep's windpipe, who could beat Tiger in a fight, who could land a blow on Horse, our options would be limited. But Dragon was one of the few who still fit the profile. Could it be? Well, Dragon was the one holding the gun right now, so it wasn't really the time to bring up my theory. Okay, well, could you wait in the cafeteria for now? I'm still trying to gather everyone, just so we can clear up everything. Sure, I'll do that. And very calmly, Dragon walked out of the room and made her way to the cafeteria. I saw her start talking with Monkey, who at this point must have been very out of the loop. Alright, no matter what I did next, I needed more people. Well, there's not really many people left. Snake and Rooster had had long enough. I went to the nearest staircase and made the trek back up to the 3rd floor. The stairs felt so long. I'd been running up and down them for so long. But it wasn't long at all, was it? This had all been happening incredibly quickly, thinking about it. As I made my way up to the 3rd floor, I felt weary. I was just expecting something bad to happen. Which is why when I got to the classroom I almost felt like laughing. I didn't, of course. It was just so absurd. There stood Snake over Rooster's bloody corpse, his arms caked in blood. What the fuck, Snake? I sense that you're upset. What the fuck, Snake? Okay, hear me out. You have a very brief amount of time. Before I get to where we're going, let me just say a few things. In Rooster's story, he should have at least heard the footsteps of somebody running away. After thinking about it some more, the blood thing wouldn't matter much if he cut the throat from behind and was careful about it. I searched through this classroom and found a bloody letter opener hastily stuffed behind some textbooks. The same letter opener currently lying next to Rooster's dead body. I'm getting there, relax. Relax? Okay, perhaps not the best advice, just let me finish. When I showed Rooster the letter opener, he immediately lunged at me and snatched it from me. I say all of this to show how very reasonable it is to assume that Rooster possesses the desperate personality. I am sad to say that Rooster does not, in fact, possess the desperate personality. God damn it, Snake! Listen, when he grabbed the letter opener, I saw killing intent in his eyes. So, out of pure instinct, I grabbed the nearby textbook and hit him in the side of the head. And from the look of things, from there you grabbed the nearby pen and stabbed him in the side of the throat? Yes. Snake, it was an honest mistake. It was murder. One could reasonably argue self-defense. He is actually right in that case. Well, it depends on how it went down exactly. Potentially. One could if they were a dumbass. No, there's no need to be rude. How does this keep happening? Why is this still happening? By that tone of voice, I presume more victims have shown up. Horse and Bunny, Dragon killed them. She did? Well, she killed Bunny, I don't know about Horse, but I'm assuming she's the traitor. I have to doubt that. You do? He was partnered up with me, remember? Which means I very much doubt she had the opportunity to commit all those murders. I mean, the pig murder took place on the first floor in the 5th round. Yeah? Then yes, she simply could not have done it. Then in that case, was it Bunny? But no, he should have had an alibi too. My mind started to spin. I needed to keep my feet on the ground, as hard as it was. You're going to get arrested for this, you know that, right? Oh, Mouse, no need to be so dramatic. Surely we can work something out. This can all be erased by the chaos and the darkness. A truth can be written by us survivors. Something was going off in the back of my mind, but for now I needed to keep pressing forwards. Yep, that phrasing was used before. Was it dragon? I don't remember. Someone said that before. Cafeteria is still the meeting space. Alright, I'll head there now. Oh no, we'll head there now. I'm not gonna let people go off on their own anymore. Fair request. So how many people are actually still alive? Dog's still alive. Snake? Me. Dragon? Monkey. That's 5. Is that everyone? Horse is dead. Bunny is dead. Sheep is dead. Pig is dead. Tiger is dead. Rooster is dead. That's 6 dead. And Ox is dead. Yep, 5 alive. There was Dragon and Monkey who is still tied up. Mouse, there you are. Monkey. Seeing a familiar face triggered all that exhaustion that I'd been holding back to catch up with me at once. Mouse, I'm worried for you. It appears you're doing an awful lot on your own. This can't be healthy. Yeah, well, dying also isn't healthy, but I'm trying to stop it the best I can. Doing a real good job of that. Hey, fuck you. Oh, okay. Breathe, Mouse. Remember what I taught you. Breathe. That's right, how could I forget? Deep breaths, deep breaths, deep breaths. Right. Right now, there's only 4 of us here. He's missing. Dog, of course. And one of us can't survive. A perilous situation, to be sure. There's one person besides us who's still alive, at least, as far as we know. Dog. Figured a shady bastard like him would stick around. There's a lot we need to go over, and before we do that, I'd like to have him here. So, here's what's gonna happen. Snake, Dragon, you stay here with Monkey, and the 3 of you need to keep an eye on each other, and an eye out for distant threats. I'm going to go find Dog. Alive or dead? Mouse, are you sure about that? Given everything that's happened? I'm finding Dog. One way or another. I respect it. Good luck, Mouse. Both of their statements felt pretty hollow to me, but there wasn't much I could do about it. Was leaving those three to themselves and wandering off into the school alone a good idea? Probably not. But what was I to do? People were dying left and right for no apparent reason. I was at a complete loss. I couldn't think of what the best thing to do was, so I was doing this. I started looking around on the first floor where Dog might be. But perhaps to be expected, I couldn't find him. Why would I be able to? That would mean something was going right in this goddamn hellscape of a school. This long 6th round was starting to come to a close, so I found a nearby classroom and input my action. After being sure that Dog was nowhere to be found on the first floor, I decided to head back to the cafeteria to make sure nothing had happened. And something had happened. Monkey. What happened? Why? Why did this... I couldn't vocalize my oncoming breakdown, but it was pretty obvious what I was referring to. After all, in front of a tied-up monkey, dragon, and snake lay motionless on the floor. The tablets had both fallen in between them. Blood flowed from their collars. This wasn't a murder. This was an execution. I wish I could tell you, Mouse. I truly do. I mean, this is pretty scarring for me as well. Well, not that that will matter for long. But you must know something. You were sitting right here. It was all pretty standard at first. The two were arguing over some inanities. I had my eyes closed. I was doing some meditation. Of course you were. This situation sort of necessitated it. And then, all of a sudden, I heard them cry out in pain. Their collars, they were... Monkey began to choke on. He struggled to look me in the eyes. I realized that I wasn't the only one being broken down by all of this. I have to assume that there was some sort of major trinket at work here. Oh, okay. That's really the only explanation I could fathom. Major trinket. Of course. Of course some major trinket would just kill Snake and Dragon. Damn it, I should have asked them both more questions when I had the chance. Mouse, could you please just check if Monkey is still properly tied up? Nothing more, you don't need to do anything more, just check if she's properly tied up. If she is, then that's okay. Then she's not guilty. Probably she's not guilty anyway. Now, Mouse, this isn't advice I should be giving to you, but... What? I think you need to go on the offensive. What do you mean? Well, if I understand everything right, then it must be Dog that used the major trinket that killed Dragon and Snake. He's the only one else alive, right? Right. And he must be the desperate personality. And indeed, this seems pretty desperate. I said we needed to pair up, and look what has happened. The one person who's been alone the whole time has been able to take people out, one by one. Well, I guess that's not entirely true. Both Dragon and Snake were a bit confused, and ended up killing 2 other people out of paranoia and confusion. But pig, sheep, tiger, horse, ox, dragon, snake, I believe there's 1 suspect left. 2 suspects left. Mouse, you can't be serious, can you? I know you're scared, but please take a moment and calm yourself. Consider. I'm on your side, Mouse. I've just been trying to help. And I've been tied up this whole time. It's impossible for me to have done anything. I'm not talking about you, Monkey. Well, you should be talking about her. I'm talking about Brian. Brian? This whole thing, it's all bullshit. He must have brought us here, and then with us trapped, he snuck inside the school and began to off us one by one. That would pretty much defeat the whole point of it. He's the true murderer. Mouse, you're not thinking clearly. And that's understandable, it's an unclear situation. But the Brian I knew would never do that. Would the Brian you knew host a death game like this? Yes, he would. He was unwell, Mouse, I said as much. But in this whole design, I see him in this. It's incredible, really, how much it fits him. In a horrific way, don't get me wrong. But as dark, as vengeful and motivated as he might have been, Brian always felt a sense of fairness. There's no way he'd break his own rules like that, Mouse. And I don't think he has it in him to commit murder himself. just to put the pieces in place and let them topple over on their own. So then it's dog. Breathe. Thinking about it rationally, Monkey made sense. My need to pin it on an unexplained third party was irrational. There is no evidence to suggest something like that. Dog was the obvious culprit. So now, Mouse, you have to act. If he has some major trinket that can remotely execute people, you can't just wait here. Odds are the trinket has some sort of prerequisites required to execute someone, so it's not all powerful. But that doesn't mean you can wait him out. You need to strike first. I know, but even if he's coming after me to kill someone, it's not going to be pretty, but it's necessary. And after this is all over, you can forget about it all. The chaos and darkness of this race will erase what happens here. The truth will be written by the survivors. Or survivor, I suppose. It'll be hard to live on alone. But you'll have to do it, Mouse. The idea that Dog was the traitor, that he killed all of us. I should go deal with him first, right? Wrong. Okay. Maybe if Dog really was this monster, I'd be justified in striking first. But is Dog really behind it all? I would assume so. After all, he's the only one left, right? Just because he's the only one doesn't mean he did it. I mean, that makes it more likely, but you can't ignore all the evidence just to fit a narrative. And the evidence just doesn't add up for Dog being the killer. Why only use a gun when killing Pig and Horse? He certainly doesn't seem the type to be able to crush a windpipe or beat Tiger in a straight-up fight. Why would he leave the pistol in the library? Dragon and Snake weren't wrong that Bunny and Rooster's responses were suspicious. It just doesn't fit. Maybe, but I don't think anything you just said is definitive. Dog might just be deceptively competent. At any rate, if it wasn't Dog, then it has to be someone already dead, right? So who? Bunny? Rooster? Dragon? Snake? You. Well, we should start from the beginning, right? Needed to really think this through. The whole world started to break when Pig was killed. If I wanted to piece things back together, I needed to start there. So then, the person who killed Pig. Oh, Jesus Christ. Why is Monkey not an option? I already don't like this. Okay. So, oh god, it needs so much memory. Pig. Rooster and Ox were together. Tiger and Bunny were together. Snake and Dragon were together. Horse and Sheep were together. Who is unaccounted for? Who? Oh, by the way, there's 3 Elsen killed. Who could have killed Pig? Who did I not speak to? Surely Ox and Rooster would not have left each other's sides, really. Sheep and Horse. Horse is definitely plausible. Because Sheep was dead before I ever got to talk to her. Dragon and Snake could account for... Yeah, it has to be Horse. There's no one else really who's... It could have been Sheep, actually. Sheep is possible. That thesis relies solely on the fact that Mouse mentioned the trajectory of the bullet, though. That is the only reason I would choose Sheep over Horse. And I'm going to... I mean, I know trusting Mouse is a horrible idea, but I'm going to trust that she was right with that. Sheep killed Pig, that's the answer. Sheep? Yeah, Sheep. The only thing that makes sense. Height matches, modus operandi matches, and most importantly, she doesn't have an alibi for when Pig was killed. In fact, we have explicit confirmation that she wasn't around when Pig was killed. She went and killed Pig. I don't know why, perhaps she was the other traitor. But if she was the other traitor, Mouse, how would she end up dead? I'm getting to that. The mistake here is thinking of this as the act of one individual. Rather, this is a sequence of isolated incidents. Next comes who killed Sheep. Knowing what we know, I think the only likely suspect would be Tiger. Perhaps she figured out that Sheep killed Pig, although how I have no idea. But judging by Sheep's cause of death and the information on the other suspects, it has to be Tiger who enters the library and kills Sheep. She thinks Sheep is still alone, but Horse is actually searching the same area as Sheep, just in the library's other room. When he returns to the scene, he is then enraged. A brawl with Tiger ensues. Horse winds up the victim. Of course, Horse killed Tiger, it's the only thing that makes sense. But when Horse checks Tiger's tablet, he discovers that she's not the traitor. Maybe he fears what will happen if he admits to killing someone who wasn't a traitor. Maybe that's why he quickly comes up with the lie about being hit over the head. Would have saved all our asses a whole lot of trouble if he was just upfront then, but whatever. I don't know exactly what was going through his head, and never will. Whatever the motive, he doesn't fess up to his kill, so Bunny and Horse are left to their own devices. Now Bunny, he's awfully suspicious of Horse, continues to investigate. And there he finds the silenced pistol, which Sheep somehow had to begin with, on her body. What happens next, judging by the fact that Horse was shot in the back of the head? Maybe it went something like this. Perhaps Bunny asked to check Horse's head, to examine the supposed wound. When he looked and saw no injury, his suspicions of Horse being the traitor were confirmed. He knew that if Horse was the traitor, this was the best chance he'd get, so right then and there he fired. Upstairs I had just informed Ox and Rooster about the mysterious deaths going around, and for one of the two men, this is an opportunity. I don't know why Rooster had the desire to kill Ox, but I'm guessing it's for reasons unrelated to the game. It was a personally motivated kill. It happened much as Snake deduced, a quick slash through the neck from behind. Rooster decided to use the chaos to his advantage and pin this kill on the other murderer. Unfortunately, Snake would later see through this ruse, and when Rooster tried to get away, Snake wouldn't hesitate to punish the guilty party. Meanwhile, Dragon walks in on the scene with Bunny. Bunny tries to placate Dragon to show Horse's tablets, proving that he was the traitor, that Bunny was in the right. When Horse's tablet proves otherwise, this comes as a shock to both Dragon and Bunny. Bunny realizes Dragon's ill intent, perhaps killing intent right away. Maybe he tried to pull a gun on Dragon to placate her, to buy time for him to explain himself. Whatever the motivation, it results in a misunderstanding, and Dragon ends things right then and there. I see. That all makes sense. Well reasoned, as usual, Mouse. But I must ask, what about Dragon and Snake's deaths? Surely those were caused by a major trinket, no? No, I don't think they were. After all, if I'm right, Dogs had no part in these proceedings. He has no reason to target the two. I think what actually happened might have been a lot more petty and tragic than that. Both their tablets were by their bodies, right? I think their fight might have evolved. One of them snatched and tried to operate the other's tablet to execute them. Maybe Snake thought similar to me and suspected Dragon as the traitor after her story. The executed one, in their dying throes, lunged back and operated the first-person tablet, causing them too to be executed. A battle of mutual destruction. Indeed, it's possible. So then, is Dog not an enemy to be feared? I don't think so, but there's one thing that doesn't sit right with me. Oh? What doesn't feel right? Ox's death. Sheep and Tiger's death. Pig's death. Dragon and Snake. Dragon and Snake going after each other. Why would they be doing that? Bunny and Rooster, what were those deaths? Bunny tried to kill, or tried to threaten Dragon, then got overwhelmed. Rooster got killed by Snake. That makes sense to me. Ox's death. Rooster had a personal vendetta against him. That was Mouse's reasoning, so if that's her reasoning to begin with, then the death makes sense. Sheep and Tiger's death. Sheep shot Pig, was killed by Tiger, who was then killed by Horse. Doesn't really surprise me. Pig's death is questionable, but I wouldn't... Dragon and Snake is the one that, for me, is most not like the others. So we'll go with that one. If Snake and Dragon died like I said, There's no way you could have been ignorant of it, right? Yeah, that's what I thought before. I didn't know that that's what she was going to refer to now, but I did think that before. Like, I mean, even if it was a major trinket, the fact that she could have been ignorant to it seems pretty odd, but with this one even more so, like there would have been a whole fight going on. Mouse? I mean, I know you said you were focused on your meditation, but a conflict like that surely had to draw your attention. I just don't buy that you would calmly ignore when a dying person lunged at another with the intent to kill when they were mere feet from you. I'm sorry, Mouse, those deaths truly fall under my responsibility. However, it's sad to say, but I completely missed the scene you described. No, you didn't just miss it. You said you heard them both cry out in pain, and that's when you looked to them. But that can't be what happened. Maybe I was confused. A lot's happened, you know, and it was awfully graphic. What do you mean awfully graphic? You saw none of it. You know how unreliable memories get under times of stress? That's not the only thing I noticed, Monkey. A cold shiver went up my spine. Something in the back of my head was shouting at me to stop, not push any further. What did it matter at this point? Learning the truth wouldn't help me at all. Let lying dogs rest, but I was just too curious. Sheep went from Pig's murder to the library. She should have passed by the cafeteria. You should have seen her. Mouse, that's not proof of anything. She probably deliberately took a route to avoid the cafeteria so I wouldn't spot her. Maybe, but that's not what's weird to me. What's weird is that Horse said that she claimed to be going to let you free from your restraints again. Yep, Mouse finally caught on. It took you a while. That implies she also let you free from your restraints to input a move the round before. So did I. And I came right at the end of the round. Which means when I helped you out, she must have already come to let you input your move. So, Monkey, why didn't you tell me that you had already input your move? And there's something even more telling to me. When Horse said Sheep left to free you from your restraints, Bunny didn't even bat an eye. Not a single question of clarification. Almost as though he knew what Horse was referring to. Almost as though he just realized that Sheep was doing what he did and stayed silent just like I did. And that's not all. Snake's alibi of Dragon was oddly caveated. He made sure the shot happened on the 5th round, not the 4th, and that the murder happened on the 1st floor. Using reverse logic on the statement, that means if the murder happened in the 4th round, or if it happened on the 2nd or 3rd floor, Snake couldn't provide an airtight alibi. Now why would this be the case? Perhaps did Dragon come down to help you from your restraints in the 4th round, and Snake helped you from those restraints in the 5th round? Mouse, what are you implying? My explanation of the murders is right, I think, but it doesn't account for why people have been acting weird. But there might be one common denominator. You're hefting some pretty weighty allegations there, Mouse, but I don't suppose you have any proof for what you're saying. I'm sorry, Monkey, but I do, and it comes in the advice you just gave me. The chaos and darkness of this race will erase what happens here. The truth will be written by the survivors. The moment I heard that line, I thought I recognized it. And then I remembered. When Dragon was justifying murdering Bunny, she said, "After all, the chaos and darkness of this race will tear away all this shit. Us survivors will write the truth." There you go, I did remember it correctly. And when I confronted Snake about his murder, he said, "This can all be erased by the chaos and the darkness. The truth can be written by us survivors." Monkey's setting this up. There was only a set amount of people that... And wait. I don't remember the rules exactly. I can't remember if the traitor can survive with a couple of other innocents. That's not a coincidence, Monkey. Don't try to say it is. Monkey, what did you do? I was the one who made Brian the way he is. What? The wild shift in tone threw me for a complete loop. Still, I wanted to hear what she was saying. Well, that's not quite right. He was already heading down this path, but I didn't stop him. Not when I could have, at any rate. In fact, it's possible I encouraged him. What? When he talked about all these conspiracy theories, about his father was really innocent, it was fascinating to me. These weren't the standard crackpot nonsense. They were really well thought out. At times I couldn't help but wonder where he was getting all this information from. And I indulged him. I heard him out. I was well aware that it was wrong. It was wrong to enable him like this, but I was just curious. So curious. So curious to hear what he had to say. It was just such a fascinating case. So I engaged with him on the subject. I treated his assumptions as correct and walked through them to see where it went. So instead of stopping his delusions, I enabled them. Until it was too late. Towards the end, I finally realized that I had gone too far. That he had gone too far. He was no longer simply in denial, that he was actively putting belief in fantasies, that his value system was corrupted. I tried to backtrack, to stop it, to snap him into reality, but that final meeting, the last one he showed up to, I really fucked it up. Monkey, what does this have to do with anything? When I sat there, tied up, facing down death, void of nothingness felt so overwhelming, so overpowering. So to distract myself, I started thinking of other things. Past meetings, Ryan's theories. And I started thinking to myself, what if he was right? I mean, I pretty much assumed so from the beginning of the game. What if these people did deserve to be here? Well, it was more so talking about his father being innocent, not about, justifying a mass murder. But, okay. My curiosity started eating at me again. Was sheep really that naive? Was tiger really that unstable? Was dragon really that hateful? Was snake really that cold-hearted? Mouse, you can't understand just how easy it was to push these people off the brink. I wasn't being some master manipulator. I was giving them the lightest taps on the back and they fell so easily. It was incredible. It's funny. I'm the one who's always preached about keeping your mental health in check, but in the face of my impending inevitable death, I think I was the one who went a little bit crazy. I looked at this pathetic chuckling lady with pure disgust and horror. This couldn't be the person I knew. This couldn't be my therapist. This couldn't be Jay Hansen. God damn it, I finally got a real name, but I don't need that one for the computer lab, but I'll write it down. Jay Hansen. His monkey. Alright. This was a demon. Someone who drove a group of people to murder from the comfort of a chair. And for what? Curiosity? Was she serious? It was appalling. It was more crushing than anything else that had happened. I trusted you. You did. You've always had a tendency towards codependency, Mouse. Make sure to note that to your next therapist. You're horrible. I don't even know you. You don't know me. Please treat the me you see before you as some pathetic stranger. I don't want to be remembered by you for this awful person this chair has made me. This accursed, horrifying, mind-tainting chair. It's rotten. I just stared at her as she squirmed. That sounds about right for someone who's mentally ill, to blame the chair for everything, always blaming someone else for what they have committed. It looked like she was trying to get free, but she was tied up tight. I didn't know what to say. I'm going to get Dog and we're going to escape together. You could do that. I started to walk away, but before I could leave, Monkey chimed up once more. Mouse. Is he already dead? What? Before I finally truly meet my maker, if I'm confessing everything, there's something else I think you should know. About Brian? No. I wasn't in the mood, but goddammit, I couldn't just not ask her to go on. What is it? Go get Dog first. I think he'd be interested to hear about this as well. Fine. And like that, I left Monkey to begin searching through the school more for Dog. It took a while, but eventually I found him lying on a couch in some student common area on the 3rd floor. Dog, what the hell are you doing? Oh, Mouse. Definitely not napping, that's for sure. You're telling me that all this shit has been going down and you've been here, napping? Mouse, I literally just said I definitely wasn't napping, didn't you hear me? I can't believe this, we're in a death game. Also, do you have a cell phone? How do you remember to nap but also input your command every 45 minutes? I mean, I've never napped before, so I don't know how it works exactly and how long naps usually take, but don't mind me. You have to input an action every round. What if you slept? There we go. What if we slept through a round and and got executed? Well, first of all, that would be really funny. Yes, it would be. And second, it's not like I've been sleeping, just resting. We were supposed to meet again in 2 rounds at the cafeteria. So, full disclosure, I totally forgot about that until you just said that 2 seconds ago. Couldn't even think of any other words. He was the only other person getting out of this alive. Could hear the gods laughing. I imagine I'm in for an earful from Ox when I get back down there. I wish. No. I filled him in on everything that had happened. He took it better than one would expect, which I wouldn't even call surprising at this point. That's pretty fucking rough, huh? Yeah, you're telling me. You know, I think I want to have a little chat with Monkey now. So do I. Plus, she has something important to tell us. Something important? Goody. And like that, the 2 of us made our way down to the cafeteria. There, for the final time, I was met with a shocking sight. Where I expected Monkey to be tied up, I was met with an empty chair and jump ropes on the floor. I'm not utterly surprised here. Are you serious? Are you fucking serious? I can't leave anywhere for a minute without everything exploding. That's, yeah, wow. Alright, so a total psycho has escaped. What's our plan now? Has she? What do you mean? The ropes are off. She clearly got out of them. But look at this. Dog walks over to them and picks them up. These were cut deliberately. Okay, well, I guess she had a blade instrument on her. Oh, so you know that doesn't make sense, right? Between the traitor announcement and Monkey being tied up, she was under constant surveillance the whole time. She never had time to grab a knife. Oh, fine, she got it beforehand. But before the traitor announcement, was there any reason why Monkey would grab a knife? Or alternatively, is there any way that she would just have a knife in her person beforehand? Even if she is the complete nutcase you described her as, that just doesn't add up. Well, she must have cut the rope somehow. Must she have? Dog, you're not seriously going to suggest that someone else helped her escape, are you? No, but I'm going to suggest that someone else cut those ropes. Who? Who could have done that? Because I left her tied up, you were supposedly napping on the 3rd floor, and everybody else is dead. Pig was shot through the chest. Jeep had her neck snapped. Tiger bled to death. Fox's throat was slit with a knife. Horse was shot point blank in the back of the head. Bunny was beaten and strangled to death. Rooster was stabbed again to death. And Dragon and Snake both were executed by the collars. Were they? But there's nobody who should have been able to free her. I am not here to give you an answer. I'm just saying it seems to me like there has to have been a 3rd party involved. And it seems to me like they wanted to make it look like Monkey escaped on her own. Didn't know what to say to that. We were left with an unsolvable mystery in the wake of Monkey's disappearance. All that was left to do was to gather everybody's tablets and minor trinkets and finish the race. The whole time I was on edge expecting a final surprise, an attack from the escaped traitor. But in the end, nothing came of it. It was a peaceful finish. No, not peaceful. Silent. In the end, Dog and I ended the game alive. Ox, Tiger, Bunny, Dragon, Snake, Horse, Sheep, Rooster, and Pig ended it dead. And Monkey ended it missing. 10 of spades. Truly nasty path for Mouse to walk. Unrelenting, brutal, and shocking. More to the point, there are too many key sacrifices with this line of play. Not to mention, it's all a bit much, no? On the whole, there's not much potential with this traitor pairing. Not much potential is a good one. I thought this was probably maybe even the best ending so far, although the tiger ending was pretty interesting. I definitely enjoy that ending, or not even that ending, that whole storyline very much. It didn't get us much further in terms of trying to get into the computers. It brought us Bunny as the killer role, but it leaves us pretty far open with a lot of other stuff. I do know Tiger's first name, I just have forgotten and I still need to go back through the recordings to look that one up. Still don't know her role really. Just to reiterate, the 4 roles that we have are Tool, Complicit, Killer, and Judge. Now that we've got Killer out of the way, and I would heavily assume Ox is Judge, Tiger would be left with Tool or Complicit. And I'm not entirely sure, but it's gonna be in some story path where it's gonna be mentioned. But either way, that run was a lot of fun. So, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.